Hello, I'm Peter Towers, Managing Director of ESS Small Business and ESS BIZTOOls. Welcome to Empowering SMEs. This is our update on COVID-19 Survival Panel webinar that was conducted a few days ago. And we're also going to give you a preview of what's coming up next Wednesday, the 6th of May, when our next webinar in the COVID-19 Survival Panel series is being held. Firstly, some announcements from the government and the tax office. The registration date for the JobKeeper program has been extended to 31 May, whereas it was originally scheduled to close off at 30 April. The government has indicated that if you have made payments that relate to the month of April to employees that you wish to claim under the JobKeeper payment scheme, you will be able to claim that in your first claim being lodged with the Australian Taxation Office. So that's up to the 8th of May, but businesses have until the end of May to register. If you do not qualify at this stage because your turnover is not fallen by 30% or is not expected to fall by 30% in the next 3 months, you can still come back and make an application later in this 6-month period, but you'll only receive the $1,500 per fortnight payments from the month that you've had the downturn in your turnover of 30% or more. The Prime Minister's had a few words this week to the banking community. I gather they were pretty tough words, where the Prime Minister inquired why it was taking so long for banks to process applications that small medium enterprises had been making for a coronavirus guarantee loan. You might recall that the Reserve Bank and the Australian government have provided $105 billion to banks at a very low interest rate, 0.25%, with the request that the banks process this into a big series of loans to SMEs, businesses with turnovers under $50 million. The loans to be to a maximum of $250,000, repayable over 3 years at a low interest rate with no security being required to be provided. And the government is going to provide a guarantee to the banks for 50% of the debt. Pretty good deal from a banker's point of view. The Prime Minister wasn't happy with the speed of processing of those loans, and the banks have now taken action. They've published a list of telephone numbers for hotlines for you to contact, and this has been published in Empowering SMEs. A reminder that if you wish to avail yourself of the benefits under the Commercial Tenancies Code, then you have to be able to apply, in fact, to apply for the JobKeeper program. So in other words, your turnover has to be under $50 million and you have to have suffered the reduction in turnover of 30% to be able to avail yourself of the Commercial Tenancy Code, which enables you to receive rent waivers and to defer some of your rent for up to 3 years. So it's very worthwhile looking at. So even if you don't intend to make an application to be registered for the $1,500 per fortnight for your employees that qualified at 1 March, you still need to go through the process of registering for JobKeeper if you wish to utilize the benefits contained in the Commercial Tenancy Code. The apprentice subsidies underway, started early in April. And if you're employing apprentices or trainees and you have 20 or less employees, the apprentices or trainees were on your books at 1 March. you can claim a subsidy from 1st of January through to the 30th of September. So the subsidy can be a total of $21,000 up to a maximum of $7,000 per quarter, calculated at 50% of the apprentice's salary. So if you're in that category, it's well worth looking at and getting your claim in now. The first lot of claims are now going in because you have to claim it 3 months in arrears. This week, we also had Priscilla B. Smith from Cloud9 Associates in Brisbane talking about the various programs that the federal government has introduced and giving an outline of how the 30% drop in turnover is calculated. And Priscilla also indicated that the tax commissioner had issued an alternative list. There's 7 options for an alternative calculation if your business doesn't quite suit the straight comparison of a month in 2019, March or April, with the same months in 2020, or the 3 months of April, May, June 2019 with the same 3 months in 2020. If you've had a business commence, acquired another business, you restructured part of your business, there was a substantial increase in turnover in 2019. You were affected by a drought or other natural disaster. You've got irregular turnover, which is not cynical, and you also might be a sole trader or a small partnership that have had problems because of injury, sickness, or absence from work. If those sort of things have affected you, you can probably use one of the 7 alternative tests that the tax commissioner has made available. The other speaker we had this week in our webinar for small, medium enterprises was Jeff Goodrich, who's a business consultant from Darwin. Jeff talked about the opportunities to reduce costs and gave an outline of the business energy efficiency tests that can be undertaken, and he has supplied some information that I'm sure most of you will find very interesting. Next week's panel is basically going to be occupied by Paul Barnaby, who's a predictive accountancy consultant and is also the Australasian representative for Plan Guru, a major American company that produces software packages for businesses and accountants to use for the prediction of budgets, cash flow forecasts, and balance sheets into the future. Paul's going to present a case study. It's going to take about 40 minutes to present a case study that will analyze a particular hypothetical business, how it might go about using the Plan Guru software package to predict its future. You could utilize this sort of approach as part of your supporting evidence to submit to a bank to obtain a coronavirus guarantee loan that I referred to a little earlier. So that's next Wednesday at 12 noon AEST. You can register for that free webinar by going onto our website, www.esssmallbusiness.com.au. So that's it for this week. Stay safe. And if you've got any questions about any aspect of your business, please see your accountant. And if your accountant's not available or you want a second opinion, please send me an email, peter@essbiztools.com.au. Have a great day. Goodbye.